Welcome to Secrets to Alignment with Savannah Schaefer. I am here to equip you with the belief and energy to make your dreams a reality. Take this time to fill your cup and align with the most vibrant version of you.
Welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaefer. I can't believe that I am saying this in this podcast because I can't believe the title is this. The title is How I Have Built 2 six-figure businesses before the age of 25. I will be turning 25 in about 3 weeks, and I cannot believe that I'm even able to say this right now, but I want to be able to share as much as I physically can with you guys so that you can get to, those incredible places that you've always wanted to go to yourself, so that you can be saying something to this magnitude, for your own business or for your own career. And I just want to help you guys along this incredible journey called life. So if you are a business owner, or if you're just somebody who is really highly ambitious and you want a lot for yourself, whether that you're in like a regular job, you're in a 9-to-5, you're in corporate, wherever that you're currently at, even if you're just a stay-at-home mom, wherever that you're at, I really think that this is going to support you, inspire you, and I'm just so happy that I get to say that this is even happening. This is really, really cool for me. It's taken a lot of time for this to kind of sink in, but once I realized this over the last couple months, I kind of connected all the dots and I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. I've talked a lot about my entrepreneurship journey, and I am totally open to dive into absolutely any questions that you have whatsoever about all of the things that I talk about. I am really an open book when it comes to all of this stuff. I'm currently building my second business. So I had a business from the ages of 17 and a half to about 22 or so, about 22, 21. Yes. LOL. Yeah. So about then, and then I started my new business right before I turned 22. I started the business that I currently have, which is my coaching business. I help women achieve every single dream and goal that they have in a shorter timeline, with more balance, more happiness, more fulfillment, without that overwhelm, without the burnout. I help them kind of keep all of the plates up in the air so they're able to actually enjoy the accomplishments that they are achieving when they are achieving it. So I've been working in this business now for the last couple years, since 2023 when my daughter was born, and I absolutely love it so much. I've served so many podcast listeners, so many people who have been hearing this from the start, have worked with me from day one, and they are truly some of the best people that I've ever got connected with, and I absolutely love, love, love serving each and every one of them. So let's go ahead and jump into how I have done this, how I've created 2 six-figure businesses by the age of 25. Number one, I definitely owe everything to my younger self, to the version of myself that was in her high school senior year and decided to take on this little journey of entrepreneurship and just see kind of where it took us. That version of myself, she was so courageous and so bold, and I'm really, really proud of her because without her, we really would not be here. I remember saying yes to this opportunity that found me through social media when I was in my senior year, and everyone around me was like, do not do that. Do not do that. That sounds so sketchy. That doesn't sound legit. And I decided to take a chance on it. And then after a couple years, I hit $1 million in sales within the company, and over 100,000, about 120-ish, maybe thousand. Yeah, I think that's about right. Somewhere around there in my sales, in my commissions. And I absolutely loved that company that I was with, but I just didn't resonate with it long term. And that's when I went ahead and opened up my own business that is completely mine. And it has been the most freeing, beautiful journey. Social media has definitely been the game changer for me. From the start, I've been building my platform. I did not have a platform before these businesses. I was really just posting for fun. And then once I started my first business, I was like, you know what? It is time to go ahead and start sharing in a completely different way than I ever have. And social media has opened so many incredible doors for me. I mean, truly, it has changed my life in many, many ways. And I feel as though it's the reason why I have the freedom that I have today. If I didn't have social media, I wouldn't have been able to reach as many people. I wouldn't be able to connect with as many people. I just simply don't have like the time in the day, to go shake hands with every single individual that I've connected with on socials. And I actually genuinely care about people. I want to connect with people. I want to support people on a very personal level. And I'm very open and honest about that. I'm not somebody who holds compliments to myself. Like if I think that you're doing an amazing job, I let you know. If I'm interested in something in your life, I'm going to ask. Like I am somebody who always wants to connect with others, and I love being that person. I love being everyone's cheerleader. I like to make sure that people know that their hard work is noticed. And I genuinely feel like that has allowed so many more people to also support me and connect with me, because we're in this reciprocal kind of relationship. And yeah, it's just this really beautiful exchange. And, sometimes strangers on the internet become people who you talk with on a daily basis or almost a daily basis. And I just think that that's a really, really cool part of social media. There are absolutely downfalls, which I'll definitely get into as well. I have a lot of boundaries around social media. On top of all of this, social media is basically the source of my business flow. And so with that being said, I have a lot of boundaries. I do not scroll in bed. I do not take my phone into bed. I don't really do like social media in bed. I don't really get on my phone at all in bed. I also do not get on social media at night, like late at night at all. I'm not on social media on the weekends whatsoever. I've been doing that since 2023. I have so many boundaries around it because I really recognize that my creativity, my inspiration is so much better when I'm not sitting there and comparing myself to anyone else on social media. That is when I am at my peak state of creativity and inspiration and fulfillment and just happiness, and I'm able to be present when I take that time and space, and I actually have boundaries between it. Just like for most of people who are probably listening to this, you guys have a job that maybe you physically go to. When you leave, you're turning off from that. For me, it's not like that. So I have to actively do that. And even with that, I've created strict business hours. I do not do any business before, I would say 9 a.m. Usually 11 a.m. is when I actually take like calls, but I don't even respond to any clients or anything until I have like a set alarm on my phone. It goes off at 8 a.m. So I set like a little focus on my phone that's called, I've named it, Focus on You or something like that. Yeah, I named a focus on my phone called Focus on You, and it goes on at 8 p.m. and then it turns off at 8 a.m. So I don't get any client texts. I don't get any family texts. The only person that can reach me throughout those time periods is just Ty. It's only Ty, because that's the only person that I want to, stay in contact with when it comes to those time periods. It's really important for me to have those strict boundaries with family, friends, everyone, because to me, I have to prioritize my energy. The only reason why I'm able to pour into so many people, the only reason why I'm able to create so much content is because of my energy management. Also, time management. I'm super duper on top of time management. I like to plan every single thing out in my calendar. I schedule every single thing out. That helps me stay super on top of things. I love creating days where I'm just focused solely on my own business. So I'll take like a couple hours, or if I have a full day, that's amazing. But honestly, after becoming a mom, I've really had to prioritize like smaller time increments. And I will say that it has made me the most productive version of myself, because I know that I don't have a full day to get things done like most people do. I just have a couple hours when my daughter is in daycare, and I grind it out throughout that time. And then I turn it off as soon as I get her. And that's another boundary that I've really had to make, because I want to prioritize my time with my family. Before, I did not have those boundaries whatsoever. I would say like the first 3 years of my entrepreneurship journey, I had no boundaries. It was 24/7 on. It led me to being super overwhelmed, very burnt out. And I feel as though me taking a lot more time to have space, disconnect. I was so scared of disconnecting from social media. I was so scared of taking breaks from my business, but doing that has allowed me to have so much more freedom and fulfillment in my life and realize what's actually important for me. I will say that Ty's a huge influence in that way too, because when he's off of work, he's completely off. And it's just made a big shift and change in my productivity levels, my happiness levels, my mental health, all of the things. Also, mental health as a business owner. Oh my gosh, this is so important. I feel like this is a conversation that could go on for hours and hours, but your mental health as a business owner is extremely important because if you are constantly being pulled in a bunch of different directions, your emotions are running on high, you're feeling all over the place because of what's happening in your personal life, it's going to affect your results in your business. You're not going to be showing up on socials as much. You're not going to be expanding your business as much. You're not going to be as present in conversations with clients as much. There's so much of an influence that your mental health can have when you have your own business. There's going to be days where you don't feel like doing any of the work whatsoever, but you know that you have to, but there's a part of you that doesn't want to. So what I am very intentional about is having a lot of mental health outlets. So for me personally, the biggest one is movement, moving my body, actually taking the time to fill my cup in the morning before I pour into any of my clients, any of the people who are in my life. I actually take that time and energy to pour into me. And that makes such a huge difference that I can just let go of whatever is, ruminating in my head and just get into my body and move the energy throughout me and then just keep going. I also will say with energy management and just staying in good vibes, just today I took in caffeine about 6:30, 7 a.m. this morning. And then by 12, I was hitting a little bit of a crash. And while I made lunch, I turned on some music, I danced, and I'm telling you, I danced and I drank a lot of water. Those are the two ways that I love to reset. I also reset by getting out into nature. If I'm having that afternoon slump, I love just stepping outside for a second, either going for it could be a 10-minute walk or me just simply sitting on the porch and doing my workout on the porch or just staring at the sky. Whatever that I need to do to reset my energy, I do that, because if not, then I'm just kind of moving throughout my day a little sluggish, and I hate feeling that way because then I don't feel like doing the things that I know I need to move the needle. And I'm always just as on top of that as I possibly can be. Something that I do is I prioritize my business first, and then I kind of work my life around that. So with those business hours, I am very, very intentional about making sure that I'm not treating my business like a hobby. I'm not treating my business like something that's on the back burner. I'm making sure that I prioritize it first, and then I do, obviously life comes first, family comes first, but you know what I'm saying? I have those time blocks throughout my week of this is when I'm working the same way I would if I was going to a 9 to 5. I have to schedule it in and be very disciplined and diligent about that. I feel like a lot of business owners, this is kind of where we allow the freedom to kind of take control of us in a sense, and then we're not prioritizing the things that we know we need to get to that next level in our business. So that's something I help a lot of the business owners that I serve with, is making sure that their routines and their consistency and all of those things are 100% on point, so they're being the most efficient version of themselves possible, and they're showing up the way that they need to so that they're getting the results. If you guys want to get results, you have to show up consistently. You have to show up no matter how you're feeling. You have to say sometimes fuck your feelings. You have to just I will say, some people might think that this is not good, but I have had to learn to compartmentalize my feelings, because that's what allows me to actually continue to move forward and just kind of process those things. At the end of the day, I'll be okay, I'm going to take my time to journal, or in the morning or whatever I need, I will take that time to think on that specific thing that's taking a lot of my mental capacity. But right now I have to be on top of it with my clients or with my work or whatever that it is that I'm currently in that flow of dealing with at that moment in time. I will say a big part of the reason I have built a really incredible platform on social media is because I am as authentic as I possibly can be. And I am real. I do not try to just share the highlight reel. I do not just try to share content that's promoting my business 24/7. I really try to show the highs and the lows of my life, because I don't want anyone putting me on a pedestal. I want them to see me and all that I am going through as well, because I am human just like you, but I just know how to handle those moments where I'm not really feeling my best or whatever is going on in my life. I try my best to be as open, honest, transparent as possible on social media, and never present myself as this picture perfect human being, because it's not reality. It's not the truth. It's not relatable in any capacity either. I'm not somebody who I just want a bunch of people to look up at me or look up to me or whatever. I want people to realize that I also go through the same struggles, and I'm going to share every single thing that I do in my own brain to walk myself through those moments where I am in that struggle, if that makes sense. Also, I will say the more that people know about you, about your life, you're actually just opening up different pathways for people to connect with you. So sometimes I share about the most random things in the world. I could share about, I don't know, like what kind of luggage I have or the jewelry that I wear or something completely random that has nothing to do with my business or whatever. But what I will say is that when I share and I open up about other things in my life, it actually it allows these little tiny pathways for people to connect with me on that. For example, I just posted about how our house is about to be up for rent. As I was in the DMs with one of the girls talking to her about her potentially renting out my house, then we started talking about my masterclass. She asked about my masterclass, and I genuinely feel like if I didn't post the thing about my house, I wouldn't have opened up that pathway. She might not have even approached me about my free masterclass that I have going on. So those are just the little things that when you start to open yourself up about different areas of your life, you do add these different connection pathways for people to just get to know you on a deeper level, to connect with you in one area, and then they feel like they know you even more, and that builds a lot of trust, that builds a lot of likability, and that's important for me. I really want people to know who I am, and the more that I share, the more that they're also willing to share as well, and that's how I feel like I really get to know my audience in a deep way. Like we truly know each other because I'm open, so they're open with me. Whenever I'm sharing different personal things about my life, they're sharing the same things back, and we're dialoguing about that, and it just allows us to kind of strengthen this connection that we have over the internet. Something that I've had to accept along this journey is that not everyone is going to understand. And that is a hard pill to swallow, but it's just the truth. Not everyone is going to understand. Not everyone is going to support you. When you do these things, a lot of people are going to think that you're cringe in the beginning. They're going to think, who is she to think that she's going to be blah, 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 blah. They've got a lot to say. I have had plenty and plenty of those, but I will say that from the place that I am right now, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And yeah, being misunderstood is totally fine because throughout that process, I've also built incredible connections with people who really do get me on the deepest level. And like I said earlier, like sometimes those strangers can be some of the people that get the closest to you literally through the internet. It's crazy. Something that's also supported me in just continuously moving forward in my business is pre-planning a lot of things. This goes back to the time management tip that I gave. I pre-plan a lot of things. I also cycle sync. So I plan things in my calendar for when my energy levels are going to be at my peak. I've given a whole breakdown in March of 2026. I gave a whole breakdown on my podcast about how I kind of do this in a more in-depth way. But I am very intentional about when my creativity is high, I pump out as much as I possibly can. I like to batch create things. I hold things so that then in the future I'm able to post those on those rainy days, those days that you're just not feeling that inspired. We all have those. So I like to have that content just ready for me to just pull on so that I have something to share. And I think that definitely helps. So pre-plan as much as you can, pre-plan for your seasons. I think that something that really made a huge difference in my business was when I stopped just going from week to week, just seeing how am I feeling or what do I need to post about or what do I need to share about, and I actually had a plan of action. I knew what are my long-term goals here, what are like the overarching themes or what are the overarching goals of this quarter or the year even, and how can I break those up into mini goals that I can accomplish on a weekly basis so that I'm always driving into those larger goals. And with that being said, I have really simplified my focus. I used to be very all over the place. I used to be running a bunch of different offers. And I used to be coming up with things every single month. I would be inspired all of a sudden and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to do this now. And then I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do this. And I wouldn't be really focusing my time and energy towards longevity. I was just kind of focused on, okay, what can I do to get to I don't know, like what can I do to just upgrade a little bit? But it wasn't like the sustainable things that I feel like now I have in place in my business. Like right now in my business, I have two main goals, and everything that I do leads to those two main goals. There's no other random shit that's going on. I'm just very, very focused. I've simplified things so much. And when you show up in that energy of just knowing exactly what your intention is, what your focus is, you're able to accomplish so much more. You're not being constantly pulled in all these different directions, having to break up your focus, having to break up your creativity and all of those things. You just know what needs to be done and then you start taking action. I've also worked with a few select mentors that are in the position that I would like to be in, whether that's mentally or in their business. I have worked with mentors specifically to help me get to that next level because they're currently in that next season that I would like to be in. So I love working with people who genuinely get it through and through. They've been where I'm currently at. They are going through the exact same struggles. They get me. And after I get on like the first call with them, I really can see if that's someone who I resonate with and that I can see myself working with. And then from there, I feel like I can make a really educated decision on if that's something that I want to invest into. I really think that mentors are extremely important. I think that working with people who are in the places that you want to be, very important. Also, just someone to see your blind spots. I feel like we can't always see our own blind spots. We can't always see what we're missing here. And, sometimes other people in our life, they're not in the same industries. They don't get it. They don't fully understand all of the intricacies. So being in close connection on like a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis with people who truly get it and they've already done what you're trying to do, it really makes the process so much easier. That's why so many of the clients come to work with me, because I'm in a place in my life where they're wanting to get to, where it comes to like freedom and consistency and efficiency and productivity and all of those things, but also balance. I love being balanced as well. So yeah, I think that those are key. That is a key part of your success, working with people who have already done what you're wanting to do. Allowing yourself to pivot. I have pivoted a couple different times throughout my last 8 years of entrepreneurship, and I genuinely think that you have to just be okay with that. You have to be okay with fucking up. You have to be okay with knowing that, what you're saying today might not resonate in a couple years from now, and that's completely fine. We're all evolving. We're all changing. Don't put yourself in a box because you know that in a couple years from now, you might not resonate with that. You have no idea where things are going to go. Share what you want to share. Just be authentic, be real. And also, I'm somebody who's down to hold myself accountable and kind of own things that I've said. If I say something a couple years ago that I don't think the same of now, I will be honest and be like, yeah, I was young and I didn't know. And that's it. It's just water under the bridge. So allow yourself to pivot whenever that you need to do that, and know that it's okay. We're all pivoting. People aren't really paying that close attention. Last and most importantly is lots of faith, lots of trust, lots of surrendering, and a lot of spirituality. That is a huge key part to the success that I have had. I have gone on this spiritual journey throughout entrepreneurship. I feel like entrepreneurship is personal growth on steroids. It is a spiritual journey. It is going to force you to evolve. It's going to force you to acknowledge all of the parts of yourself that you didn't even know were holding you back. It's a perfect, incredible mirror to what you believe that you deserve, to so many different aspects of our life, to the level that you hold your standards to, like just so much. Spirituality has been a huge part of my journey, and I continue to prioritize this through my connection every single day to Source. I am extra intentional about this because I genuinely believe that the more connected I am with Source, the better I am serving the people who are listening to my podcast, this clients that I have that come into my world. I get to actually call in people who are on the same wavelength as me, and that's extremely important to me, to resonate on the deepest level possible with the people who I am surrounding myself with. And spirituality has been, like, keeping that constant connection has been a huge importance for me, so that I can move through my journey with trust, knowing that every single thing is working out for me, not constantly freaking out when things don't go my way. This has really allowed me to have like a true backbone and just this sense of groundedness in my success, and knowing that this is like a long journey that we're going on, and it is a journey. It's an adventure together, and we get to do it and have so much fun while doing it, and know that we are impacting the world in such a beautiful, deep way. And I just love that. So I'm constantly saying like little prayers over things, or setting little intentions over every single action I take, every single time that I press play on a podcast, every single time that I post something, every single time that I'm speaking on camera. Like, I am extremely intentional about making sure that the spirit of the universe is within me, and that I am sharing from the utmost, the highest vibration possible. I am pouring into people the things that they absolutely need to hear in this moment specifically. And I feel like when that is your absolute top intention, you really can't fuck up there. You really can't. So That's extremely important to me. That's something that I work with also a lot of my clients on too, is just deepening their relationship with their spirituality, because it really does make this huge difference, not only in their life, but in their business as well. And I think that that's even something that I want to create an entire course on, is strategy and spirituality, because I feel like those things are so important. All right, so we dove down a lot of different paths here. I tried my best to cover as much as I possibly can. If you have specific questions about anything that I talked about in this podcast, send me a DM, leave me a comment down below, message me. I am always here for you guys. I love getting into the nitty-gritty. I love pouring into you and just making sure this is truly resonating. So if there's anything that you have more questions about, I am always an open book for you. I appreciate you so much for listening. I'm wishing you so much success in this season of life and this season of business or your career that you are currently in. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.